Chinese mooncakes, more than just counterfeit, a woman discovers fingernail inside. Qiantang River tidal bore breaks guardrails, knocking down numerous tourists, video revealed. The huge unemployment rate in China. 12 Chinese provinces and cities on the verge of bankruptcy. Foreign media, Beijing launches trillion-dollar bond plan. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Chinese mooncakes, more than just counterfeit, a woman discovers fingernail inside. Before the Mid-Autumn Festival in 2023, a woman named Chen bought a box of matcha-flavored mooncakes from Shaanxi Normal University. However, when she ate them, she found a fingernail inside one of the mooncakes. She was really disgusted and shared pictures online, saying that, "It's so gross, it's either plastic or a human fingernail. I felt sick for a long time." In response, a staff member from Shaanxi Normal University said that they would meet with the customer after the festival to discuss the matter. However, they explained that there were no problems with how the university made the mooncakes because they used pre-made fillings. Talking about the issue of pre-made fillings, as reported previously, there was a big discussion about salted duck egg yolks in traditional mooncakes. They were suspected of being fake. A blogger in a video claimed that some mooncakes on the market might contain artificial salted egg yolks. The video showed solid yellow, elongated products being turned into salted egg yolks after being cut by machines at an incredible production rate of 100,000 pieces per hour. Reporters in Guangzhou visited supermarkets and farmers' markets, where they discovered two types of duck eggs available: loose whole salted duck eggs and individually packaged artificial salted duck egg yolks. These artificial egg yolk products are typically composed of salted duck egg yolks, starch, soybean powder, flavorings, and additional ingredients. During their investigation, it was disclosed that these products contain potassium sorbate, primarily used to prevent spoilage in salted egg yolks. Some experts believe there are two reasons why companies choose artificial egg yolks. First, it's cost-effective. Natural salted egg yolks on the market usually cost yuan each, while synthetic ones are only half the price. Secondly, artificial salted egg yolks have a longer shelf life, lasting up to 12 months, while fresh salted egg yolks only last for 5 days. Qiantang River tidal bore breaks guardrails, knocking down numerous tourists, video revealed. On October 1st, in Haining, Jiaxing, Zhejiang, at the Yingguan Scenic Area, a dramatic incident unfolded due to the powerful waves of the Qiantang River. According to videos circulated on the internet, as many tourists gathered along the riverbank to witness the tidal bore phenomenon and expressed excitement through their exclamations as the imposing waves approached, the railing suddenly collapsed, resulting in many tourists being swept away and adding to the chaotic scene. After the initial wave, subsequent surges led to a sudden high tide that swiftly destroyed the riverbank railing. Reports indicate that there were no additional safety measures in place before the incident, as the railing location was deemed a safe zone. The accident resulted in several injuries. Following the incident, on the same day, the Yingguan Tourist Resort in Haining issued a notice announcing the temporary suspension of nighttime light show activities due to equipment and facility-related reasons. Reportedly, local authorities have not disclosed details regarding the situation at the scenic area or the extent of injuries. The footage from the scene prompted discussions among mainland Chinese netizens. They expressed concerns and observations, including questions about the number of tourists involved, the dangers of such incidents, and the importance of respecting the power of nature. The huge unemployment rate in China. As analysts continue to discuss China's economy, let's delve into the youth unemployment rate based on the analysis provided by experts from the Jingyuan Finance Program. How significant is this figure? China's youth unemployment rate reached a record high of 21.3% in June of this year, steadily increasing month by month since January. Following the announcement of this highest-ever figure, the Chinese government declared that, starting from August, it would suspend the publication of all unemployment-related data, citing the need to further improve and optimize labor force survey statistics in the context of the rapidly changing and developing economic and social landscape. This news immediately sparked lively discussions not only within China but also among international experts. Official data reveals that China's net employment increase, the number of people employed this year minus the number from the previous year, has been steadily decreasing since 2010. In 2021, the net increase in employment was only 5.02 million people, marking the lowest level since 1995. However, another set of data claims that the annual growth in the employed population has consistently exceeded 11 million people from 2013 to 2022. Even during the three-year economic downturn from 2020 to 2022, the authorities have publicly stated that 12.06 million new jobs were created in 2022. So, how does the Chinese government calculate the official unemployment rate? First, 1 hour of work per week is considered employment. Secondly, the unemployment rate does not include the rural population, and the employment situation in rural areas is even worse. Thirdly, flexible employment of 200 million people is also considered employment, and flexible employment means there is no formal job. Fourthly, individuals categorized as not in the labor force are not included in the scope of unemployment statistics. What exactly does this term not in the labor force refer to? According to Fu Linghui from the National Bureau of Statistics, in May, over 33 million young people aged 16 to 24 were actively seeking employment, while the remaining individuals fell into the category of not in the labor force. This designation applies to those who either lack the intention or ability to work and includes individuals adopting a lying flat lifestyle, full-time students, and the second generation of wealthy officials who do not need to seek employment. All of them are considered non-labor force participants. Even with these adjustments, the official youth unemployment rate reported by the National Bureau of Statistics remains high, hovering around 21%. What is the real unemployment rate? From online videos, it's evident that Starbucks in Beijing is filled with middle-aged individuals who are unemployed, while the labor market in Tongzhou-Majukio, located in the southeastern suburbs of Beijing, is congested with people working over 10 hours a day for less than $2.50 per hour. Even in one of China's top 100 counties, Jiangsu Kunshan, the Human Resources Recruitment Office is empty, with Taiwanese businessmen leaving, and no job opportunities remaining. In the past, when someone was unemployed, they could become a ride-hailing driver. However, as a significant number of unemployed people entered this profession, it became increasingly difficult to make a decent living. For instance, Hangzhou's ride-hailing driver, Mr. Li, only earned a little over 100 yuan after working 16 hours a day. More and more young people are opting for a lying flat lifestyle, and some are even choosing to stay financially dependent on their families, becoming full-time dependents. Why is employment so challenging? Currently, there is a widespread issue in China concerning young people's four no's: not getting married, not buying homes, not having children, and not consuming, along with difficulties in re-employment for those over 35 years old. The government has urged young people to find hardships for themselves and even encouraged them to take the go-to-the-countryside route. First, the 3-year zero-COVID policy has led to economic stagnation, a large number of business closures, and artificially created explosive widespread unemployment. Second, the CCP government has recently cracked down on private enterprises, targeting various industries such as internet platforms and educational training. Just the crackdown on the education and training sector has resulted in the unemployment of nearly tens of millions of people. According to mainland China's Qiantang data, over 4.45 million private enterprises have closed down, while private enterprises provide nearly 80% of employment opportunities in China. Third, the wave of decoupling from China keeps increasing, leading to the relocation of industrial chains and a decline in orders. According to official CCP data, foreign-funded enterprises account for 2% of market entities and have driven the employment of approximately 40 million people, accounting for 10% of the urban employment population nationwide. The trend of decoupling between the global economy and the Chinese economy may become the norm in the coming years, making employment in China even more challenging. Fourth, the CCP government's leading role in the commercialization of education has led to a severe mismatch between talent supply and market demand. It is estimated that the scale of national college graduates will reach 11.58 million people in 2023, setting a new record. The education system has been under the control of China's planned economy model, leading to a disconnect between education and market demand. In 1998, China began the commercialization of education, expanding higher education and converting many secondary vocational schools, junior colleges, distance education universities, and evening universities into universities. Data shows that in recent years, around 70% of high school graduates have been admitted to universities every year. To attract students, universities have opened a large number of majors in finance, foreign trade, real estate, computer science, information software, etc. Meanwhile, vocational schools that train mid to low-end talent for the manufacturing industry have seen a lack of interest. For over 2 decades, many graduates have found themselves working in fields unrelated to their majors. When the economy is booming, such mismatches can be absorbed by the job market. However, when the economy declines, these mismatches become evident, with many manufacturing jobs going unfilled, and university graduates, who come with higher costs, are reluctant to take lower-end jobs. Currently, a wave of unemployment is spreading, and finding employment has become very challenging. Will the employment situation in China improve in the future? As we have analyzed earlier, the fundamental reasons for unemployment in China, such as the crackdown on private enterprises, decoupling from the global economy, and the inefficiency of the state-owned economic system, will persist in the long term and may worsen. In other words, the unemployment problem is likely to become more severe. Lastly, it's worth mentioning that Wall Street generally believes that after the pandemic, Chinese consumption will rebound, and the Chinese economy will continue to prosper, thereby driving the global economy. However, why hasn't Chinese consumption rebounded after the pandemic? Instead, there has been a significant decline in consumption. Data from multiple industries show a 30% drop in consumption. How can we explain this sudden decline? The perspective of Jinyuan Finance Program is that when there is a sudden and substantial decrease in the population, there will be a sudden and significant decline in consumption. So, how significant is the population decline in China? We previously reported that Master Li Hongzhi, the founder of Falun Gong, disclosed information suggesting that during the 3 years of the pandemic, the death toll in China reached 400 million people. However, this staggering number may be beyond most people's imagination. What's noteworthy is that since Master Li revealed this figure, the Chinese government has not issued any rebuttal, which is unusual for the CCP regime. Nonetheless, we will continue our analysis based on the leaked data of China's declining salt consumption to assess the extent of the mainland's population decline. These are concrete statistics gathered by investigative experts and not mere guesswork. We invite you to stay tuned for our analysis. 12 Chinese provinces and cities on the verge of bankruptcy. Foreign media, Beijing launches trillion-dollar bond plan. In addition to the high unemployment rate, China has now entered an era of universal wage reductions, and local CCP governments are facing a major financial crisis, with 12 provinces and cities being classified as high-risk bankruptcy regions. As previously reported, economically significant provinces, including Jiangsu, Tianjin, and Guangdong, are grappling with financial depletion and are forced to borrow money to pay workers' salaries. According to Sound of Hope, tens of thousands of government officials in Tianjin have not received salaries for several months. Insiders have revealed that Tianjin is effectively bankrupt. Meanwhile, in Yunnan, Mr. Zhao Lanjian, a prominent figure in Chinese media, said that the crisis is worsening, with reports of salaries suspended across the entire province, and officials at all levels are being likened to leaks, facing continuous cuts in their benefits. As the economic situation worsens, the business environment deteriorates, further intensifying the sinking ship effect. Grassroots officials are becoming more aggressive in extorting and blackmailing local businesses, making everyone direct victims. Faced with a financial crisis, local governments are resorting to various means to generate revenue. On September 23, a video from mainland China went viral. In Fuzhou City, Jiangxi Province, a pedestrian street openly imposed tolls. An elderly man held up his phone and angrily confronted the toll collectors. "There's no pandemic, no traffic accident. Why are you blocking the road here?" Netizens expressed their anger, saying, "What era is this? Even walking requires a fee? They're so poor. If they can't pay salaries, is the government now robbing people on the road?" Furthermore, Bloomberg reported a major development on September 28. The CCP has initiated a plan to allow local governments to issue bonds again, using new bonds to repay old ones. As we've reported previously, an official disclosure document revealed that the Inner Mongolia region will issue 3 refinancing bonds worth 66.3 billion yuan, with maturities ranging from 3 to 7 years. These bonds will mature with a one-time repayment of principal and the final interest payment, and they can be traded on the national interbank bond market and stock exchanges after issuance. However, some believe this is merely an empty promise. One of the refinancing bonds issued by the Inner Mongolia government explicitly states that the funds raised will be used to fully repay government debts owed to enterprises, while the other 2 bonds are for repaying government debts owed to enterprises before 2018. In other words, the Chinese government plans to use new debt to repay old debt, and common people who buy these bonds will likely face additional financial burdens. Bloomberg previously reported that Chinese authorities had identified 12 provinces and cities as high-risk areas and indicated that these regions would receive more support. These regions include Guizhou, Hunan, Jilin, Anhui, and Tianjin. Essentially, at least 12 provinces and cities in China are currently facing the possibility of government bankruptcy. It has been reported that Beijing will permit provincial-level governments to raise approximately 1 trillion yuan through bond issuance to repay debts related to local government financing platforms and other state-owned obligations. Official data from the Chinese Communist Party reveals that between January and August, the total issuance of local government bonds amounted to 6.3 trillion yuan. As of November of the previous year, the cumulative balance of local government debt nationwide stood at 78 trillion yuan, approximately $10.86 trillion. So why is it that China's local government debt deficit is probably the biggest disaster after the incident involving Evergrande Chairman Su Jian's incident? Regarding this topic, Mr. Chao Duong, the chairman of Fuyao Group, one of the world's largest glass manufacturers, once publicly disclosed the behind-the-scenes story of Su Jian's rise, stating, "Chinese commercial banks can provide loans for real estate, for instance, by registering a company, acquiring a piece of land, and repeatedly mortgaging it." Su Jian's total capital was only 3.9 billion yuan, but he managed to borrow up to 2 trillion yuan. 2 trillion yuan is equivalent to 2% of China's GDP in 2022. He added, "This is just the Su Jian family. How many other real estate developers are there in China? The Zhang family, the Li family, the Lu family, the Wang family, it's a complete mess. This is Chinese-style finance." Some analysts have highlighted that over the past 11 years, a significant portion of the revenue generated by Vanke Group, a large residential real estate developer in China, amounting to 48.36%, has been directed to local governments. However, paradoxically, these local governments, which should be financially well off, find themselves burdened with substantial debt. This raises concerns about how many local governments might end up in a situation similar to that of Su Jian. The issuance of local bonds will only exacerbate the growing hole in China's economic vicious cycle. If ordinary citizens are compelled to purchase these local government bonds, it is feared that, much like the victims of the Evergrande crisis, they stand to lose everything. In such a scenario, all the lingering issues within Chinese society will be compressed into a powder keg that could potentially explode at any moment, threatening the rule of the Chinese regime. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.